Hello friends, it's me, K.I.T.T. When I'm not out fighting crime, I like to follow my friends at KnightRiderHistorians.com. Check it out.
So, want to know the real story behind the infamous first meeting between Knight Rider's K.I.T.T. and the Dukes of Hazzard's General Lee? Well, stick around and learn all about the feud between these two legendary TV cars. And see a piece of footage from this matchup that hasn't been aired in over 35 years. But before we begin, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more exclusive Knight Rider content. And here we go. In the summer of 1982, legendary producer Glenn Larson was preparing to launch what would become arguably his greatest TV success. Well, in our opinion anyway. Knight Rider. A series about an undercover police officer injured in the line of duty and reborn as Michael Knight, a lone crusader who fights crime with the help of his talking supercar named K.I.T.T. NBC, hoping that this new show would drive viewers away from the already established hit CBS series The Dukes of Hazzard, hired Steve Schomer as their new vice president in charge of advertising and creative services. Schomer had just left CBS, TV's top-ranked network, and home to the Dukes in July of 1982. And he was looking for a new challenge. It wasn't enough of a struggle promoting the #1 network, he said at the time. So, moving over to third place, NBC would give Schomer the challenge he was looking for. I gotta laugh at this one. One of the first rules that Schomer broke was the one that says you don't name other networks in your promos. That, indeed, you pretend there are no other networks whatsoever. Within a month of Schomer taking the reins of NBC's ad department, his fresh ideas and drive to get NBC out of the ratings basement created a new marketing campaign for Knight Rider, and they called it "The Competition is No Competition." In this campaign, three-time Indy winner Johnny Rutherford stands out in the middle of California's El Mirage dry lake bed in front of an orange 1969 Dodge Charger meant to resemble the General Lee, but with double zeros on the doors instead of the General's famous 01. Pointing to the General, Rutherford says, "Once upon a time, that was the hardest car on television." And then he walks over to K.I.T.T. with his scanner strobing in a not-so-familiar fashion, and continues, "But this car can do more than jump puddles." Rutherford then invites the viewer to mail a self-addressed stamped envelope to a post office box in order to receive a brochure comparing the two vehicles. And it ends with Rutherford attempting to pat K.I.T.T. on the back, but a driverless K.I.T.T. speeds off into the distance, leaving Rutherford scratching his head. Well, we talked to Steve Schomer last year about this spot, and he commented that Warner Brothers, which produced The Dukes, initially sent 2 lawyers to Grant Tinker's office to complain. Tinker was the CEO of NBC at the time. Warner Brothers even toyed with the idea of a lawsuit, but they later brushed it off, saying at the time they weren't concerned about it. And maybe for that we're thankful. Well, this ad ran throughout the entire month of August 1982, of course on NBC, and viewers who wrote in were treated with a comparison chart of the two vehicles, touting Knight Rider's superiority in nearly every category, from unrealistic top speed to unreal braking distance to its indestructible shell and artificial intelligence. And on the backside, a promotional photo of David Hasselhoff with K.I.T.T., one that's quite familiar to us now. Original copies of this comparison chart have popped up on eBay on only a few occasions over the last 20 years. And they weren't cheap, let me tell you, because I was one of those first bidders. But the commercial itself was seemingly completely lost to time. I mean, think about it. It aired for 1 month, and only 1 month, in 1982, in a time where most people were not recording television shows at all. They didn't even have VCRs. And why on earth would they record commercials? And in addition, it was during the summer hiatus for nearly all shows, making it even more unlikely that a copy of this ad was lying in somebody's cabinet or basement or box or attic on a Betamax or VHS videotape. Well, Betamax was more likely back then, but I digress. Well, that all changed in August of 2018. Because at that time, the Knight Rider historians, after over 20 years of hunting this thing, received a box of videocassettes from a friend of ours who had ties and connections to Knight Rider while it was first being developed. These tapes spanned an array of formats, from VHS to Betamax to the more enigmatic 3/4-inch U-matic. The contents of these tapes were not known to anyone at the time, because unfortunately the owner of them had since passed. But one Betamax tape in particular caught our eye. One labeled simply Knight Rider Pilot. Now, thinking it was just a recording of the televised episode in 1982, we placed it into our beta machine, and yes, we acquired a beta machine. We've had one for a while for this kind of thing. And we hit play, and we were shocked to see that the only thing on this entire tape was the commercial that we had been searching for the last 20 years for. And even better, it wasn't recorded from broadcast television, no. But it was a copy of the original master, complete with a tag. Okay, enough of the backstory. So now, after 38 years, it is time to reveal it to you.
Once upon a time, that was the hottest car on television. But now there's Knight Rider, and it can do a lot more than jump puddles. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope for a free copy of this road comparison. See why Knight Rider can give you bigger thrills on Friday nights. Write Knight Rider, Post Office Box 136, Hollywood, California. Buckle up for excitement with the fastest show in television.
If you enjoyed seeing this golden nugget of Knight Rider history being resurrected from oblivion, then please consider supporting us on Patreon. Together we've been at this for over 25 years. And yes, it takes a lot of money and a lot of time to bring these things to you. And while we love doing it, with your support, we could bring even more of these historical nuggets to you, and more often. We're the Knight Rider historians. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.